It's for panel discussion. Thank you very much. Please come back. Are you on your way?
You agree to me, everybody about this place. The program with agriculture in this country is grammar. Too much grammar. Why everybody are they laugh me? Okay, Vendo, do you have champion? Vendo, you have champion? See this Yamano, na champion they call champion. Okay, over container no na high sea. Can you go there and I disturb room man every time? And I know you My name is Lord Louis Venom Harcourt. We have released Northern Nigeria from the leading springs of the treasury. A promising and well-cultured youth is now on his own and is prepared to come into an alliance with the Southern Lady of Means. I have issued the special license and Frederick Lugard will perform the ceremony. May the content be, may the union be happy and the couple content. The contraction, the country we call Nigeria was, and the engagement took place in 1913. But the marriage happened, the marriage and the delivery of the baby happened the same day. And the conception did not take place in the night. It took place in the morning of January 14, January 1, 1914, when Frederick Lugard said, His Majesty, and the Majesty in quote here is somebody far away at Buckingham Palace. I don't want to take us back again, but I just have shown you the 4 pillars that Nigeria rested on. Having done that, it's good that I'm coming after my fellow people living with disability. I've just finished speaking. I've used one eye since I was 7. And today I'm 58. And I think it's only 7 states in Nigeria that I have not traveled to. I have moved around. I schooled at Unilag, at UI, and at UNM. And I am privileged to see Abalanze again for a very long time. And all the while I sat there, only one thing has been running through my head. Not just Abalanze, but Professor Basifu. And I'm asking myself, Professor Elo Amtras These two people, let me just stop at this three. And I am not the one that holds the key to life or death. But you want to ask yourself, how long do you think they got? Me, I'm 58. The highest I'm here in the next 30-something years, if I live very long, I'm gone. As I listened to them, and as I sat down quietly here, my mind went back to Ashizia, went back to Dr. Atawanko. My mind went back to all the elders that I met in recent times. And within 3 years, they were gone. And we are looking for people to anchor this struggle. People are looking for things that should be looking for them. Where is the whole? Where is Justice also? Where is the king that knew? I also want to greet my colleague, Professor J. Chidozie Chukwokolo. It's good to see you here. He was actually employed the day I was sacked. In 2006. Yeah, I have been sacked 2 times where I'm teaching. I'm restored 2 times. Now they are tired of sacking me. So. He was employed the same day and all my courses given to him. And he came to me and said, I hear that you didn't do anything. I said, oh God, why are you behaving? You are not guilty now. You didn't sack me. You got a job. Go and do the job. And before that time, I had gone to meet the Vice Chancellor, said, we need hands. And he brought letter from government house. He said, sorry, no employment. I said, no problem. So God used that style and brought him in. 4 days later, I was restored. When they sacked me the second time, it lasted 3 months. But I still came back. So I'm glad to see him here. Friends, what we need to ask ourselves, restructuring is not what I discuss. I've been discussing this for like 15 years. I talk about reconstructuring. What was the structure we had? There was a structure we had. And if we don't return to it, that's why I love the name rebel. And there is somebody that must rise up for recognition. Please, Barrister Emeka Emekesiri, please stand. I don't know why the group did not introduce you, but this is the leader of the movement of Biafrans in Nigeria. Mobi. This is the man that formed IPOB. Is not a group. IPOB is a people. He is the man that registered Nwada Amarachi Okpara, Sam Ume, Dr. Chukwuma Ekemba, Law Mefon, Uche Mefon, and Nnamdi Kanu in Begin Human Rights Initiative in London. This book was republished in 2018, but it was originally published in 2012 in London. And when you read it, Biafra or Nigeria presidency, what the Igbos want. It was a response to a question asked by Tel magazine. If you read it, you will see where the name indigenous people of Biafra was mentioned, because the research began after September 13, 2007, when the United Nations passed what we call the UN TRIP, United Nations Declaration of the Rights of the Indigenous Peoples. They call it UN TRIP. That's when the research began, 2007, and the book was now published in London in 2012 and republished by Fourth Dimension in 2018. Barrister Emekesiri created IPOB as a group, and they wrote to all the nations in the world, telling them about IPOB as a people, not as a group. And the first country to invite them was the Australian government. The government of Australia sent that document to Honorable Justice Eze Ozobu, then the chairman of the Supreme Council of Elders, with Dr. Dozie Ikedife as the deputy chairman and Secretary General Joe Achuzia, and they sent the document back to London and asked them to elect somebody to go and dialogue with the Australian government. And they had already picked Dr. Chukwuma Egemba in London to go and join Modestus Okezie, the leader of the Biafran Alliance in Australia, so that they can go and discuss with the Australian government. When somebody said, since Nnamdi is now handling the radio, is it not better he goes there so that he can transmit from Australia? And because it was a good decision, a good suggestion, Dr. Chukwuma Egemba stepped down, and Nnamdi Kanu flew, they arranged papers, he flew to Australia, and they had that dialogue on March 19, 2013. That was the original IPOB. I want to stop there, and let's come back to where we are. Can we put our hands together? The Barrister Mekesiri, the one that took the Nigerian government to court. That case is still in court. It has moved to the appeal court now. Who sued on behalf of the remnants. And that's why, till tomorrow, anywhere I go, I will not be ashamed to introduce myself as a Biafran. When I go for conferences, I introduce myself as a Biafran. As an Igbo Biafran. To be specific. But the issue is, we know the Nigerian state is not right the way it is. Nigeria existed for 27 months and 14 days. The original Nigeria. That was when it was born again. Nigeria was born on January 1, 1914. It was born again in 1963. And that is why this my paper is titled Rebuilding the States Under a System, Nigeria must be born again. And don't be surprised, as an evangelist, I discuss born again, but when you look at the idea of being born again, it also means rebel. Rebel. So we're actually dealing with the question of rebel. Rebel, because Nigeria was reborn in 1963. And when we are saying go back, let's return to 1963, we are not talking about a wholesale return. No. We are not talking about a wholesale return. There are spirits behind that constitution. And that constitution is located on 3 pillars. You want to stop me? 10. You know that I'm sure Chukokolo is part of this thing because he knows I can go up like an RPG. So he's I am not part of it. You don't get to assist me. I know this. So when these protests in the Middle Belt happened on July 13, 1963, the Prime Minister, Tafawa Balewa, set up a commission headed by Edward Long to organize a referendum. That referendum took place on July 13. After that February demonstration, the conference took place, this referendum July 13. Then on July 25th and 26th, they took it to the parliament. Not to the parliament, they took it and then organized a conference to look at the result of that referendum and then created the Midwestern states on 13th September 1963, preparatory to Nigeria becoming a true Federal Republic of Nigeria The founding fathers of Nigeria knew ab initio that Nigeria either survives as a federation or it will not survive at all. I was thrilled when Abalance about the quotes. He's talking about the quotes that the chiefs in the north made in 1942. And I quote, "Holding this country together is not possible except by the religion of the prophets. If they want political unity, let them follow our religion," unquote. And on October 11, just 11 days after Nigerian independence, Ahmad Bello dropped the coup de grace, and that's what has been going on now. The new nation called Nigeria should be an estate of our great-grandfather Ottoman Danfodio. We must ruthlessly prevent any change of power. We use the minority in the north as willing tools. You now see we are the one and Danjuma comes in. We use the minority in the north as willing tools and the south as a conquered territory. We will never allow them to rule over us. We will never allow them to have control over their future, unquote. So that when Zeke was telling Ahmad Bello, let us forget our differences, he said, no, we cannot forget our differences. I am a Muslim, you are a Christian. I am a Fulani man, you are an Igbo man. We must recognize our differences. So while Awolowo can be Awolowo of the West and Ahmad Bello of the North, they branded Zeke of Africa. Africa. Have you seen how we got there? And if you think that all these sporadic actions we are taking will solve our problem, I looked at what Masob was doing. I was doing my PhD there in the University of Lagos, 1999. I looked at what he was doing. I studied it just briefly. And with my critical, philosophical mindset, I said, this will not take us anywhere. And I wrote an article that time titled, in the year 2000, 25 years ago. That article is titled, Masob, When Biafra Becomes an Opium. And 25 years after, I have no reason to change my mind. You can't pick up a new country on the street. So those of you, go and read To the Rescue. Abalanze, we have come to the rescue. That is his book, To the Rescue. Okay, I didn't introduce this my own. Sinking structures on faulty foundation. You see Nigeria broken. That's what we have come here to do. So we can see whether we can gather together what has been broken. That's why we are here. And we are not going to do it without sincerity. Things have happened in the past, and we should not repeat the same mistake. We have enough experience not to repeat. And somebody says it's only a fool that waits to learn from his own mistake. And we are even a double fool because we have refused to learn from our own. A wise person learns from the mistake of others. And that's why we are here. Don't think that when I met Nnamdi, I told him, you can't pick up Biafra on the street. Come, Oga, without a diplomatic, legal, and political angle to this struggle. We have not started. I was in Wazirike's house in 2021. He was sitting, I was standing. I looked at him. I said, Chief, do you remember when you said we should not be part of the census in 2006? Oh, no, he was just looking at me. I asked him, I bent down. I said, 15 years after, where are we? He was still looking at me. I said, after the census, they allocated the population figure to us. And that's what they have been using to send allocation to the southeast. Who is losing? Can you help me? He said, until we decide who goes to Douglas House, that's the name of the government house in Imo State. Until we decide who goes to Douglas House, who goes to Adoka, who goes to Lion Building, who goes to the houses of assembly, the Biafran struggle have not started. We can do what we are doing from now till the year 3000, no change. So those of you think that people are doing anything, nothing, as in no thing is being done, nothing. Instead, what has happened is that we have slipped back. Chukwuokola and I have got involved in this matter for a very long time. Chukwuokola, do you remember when we told one of them that he says he wants to go and jump in the state government house to go and have their Biafran flag? I will call his name, Benjamin Omoka, Biafran Zionist movement. We called him. Oh, that, if you can hang Biafran flag, does it mean we become sovereign? And if you must go, do you have to jump? Jump the fence? Why don't you find a way to go through the gate? Chukwokolo, did he hear? He didn't hear. They went and jumped. One person was shot there. That was an evil man that should have gone on an errand for us. And when we left radio station, Solid FM, one morning, and a lawyer didn't know he had been struggling to go and take him on bail. They took him on bail, but there was nobody to sign the bail bond. He came and appealed to us, myself, Professor Chukwokolo, Comrade Zulokfelo, and one of our colleagues again, Dr. Ogoko. We put our papers together. We said, this man, he has poo-pooed inside the vestry, not just all that. He has poo-pooed inside the vestry, but not Kaboni Igbo, he's still an Igbo man. Let's go and see. Do you know that Chukwokolo took transport there? And when he got to the prison, the man refused to see Chukwokolo. I don't know who went and signed the bail bond, and he came out and declared himself Biafran president. With Jerry Ghana as one of his ministers. I want to ask us, where is the Biafra that he became president that time? Can we ask ourselves soul-searching questions? My issue is no longer whether Nigerian state is in disarray. My issue is how do we get them? Because we must compel these people to reconstructure us. Restructuring is not a cake we are begging somebody to give to us. It's our right. Nigeria existed as a federation. There are two ways of forming a federation: by aggregation or by devolution. That's what happened in the United States. When 13 colonies at that Second Continental Congress meeting in that cold night on July 4th, 1776, decided to rebel against the British rule. And they said, we are forming a nation of life, liberty, and happiness. Just like the 1963 Constitution discussed something about liberty, equity, equality, and justice. These are the three pillars that the 1963 Constitution is based on. You cannot become a minister if you did not win election. This is not a question of when you become president. You go and elect bootlickers, you elect your classmates, elect your people from your village, and they become ministers. No, you must. That's why the man is called prime minister, first amongst equals. And when he falls, the government will fall with him. So anybody who thinks that there is a structure to restructure. No, there is not. We need to return to where we fell. The problem that Moritala and Obasanjo had in 1976 was to think that Nigeria fell in 1979. No, Nigeria fell in 1966. We should have returned. But because they needed the kind of presidential power, presidential authority, that's why they invested upon us presidential system of America without the presidential kind of constitution. The 50 states in America have their own constitution. Why is it that in Nigeria we don't have it? Under that 63 constitution, all these regions had their consular services outside Nigeria. That's why in 2015, when Obama said he was going to invite Syrian refugees to America, after 48 hours, 13 colonists looked at him and said, hey, Mr. Obama, well done, oh, thank you very much. Oh. You can invite Syrian refugees to America. But you know what? They ain't going to come to our state. They formed the United States. The United States didn't form them. What we have in Nigeria is where a people is creating a constitution. Instead of the constitution creating the character of the state. A constitution is not just a document. A constitution captures the hopes and aspirations of a people. It's not a document. That's why I want to withdrew. True. Okay. You know, every good speaker closes 3 times. Finally, this is my first final. Please, friends, what we are discussing is a very serious matter. I'm a rutologist. I'm not interested in how many states are created. You can create 1 million states. It doesn't solve our problem. I look at the root. What is the root cause of the problem? I have remained at the root. Whether you give women, all the things that are happening in Nigeria is structural. Once you get the structure well, and that's why, for me, I have a philosophy that I push. Okolo knows. It's called reflection. I think on what can be done or what should be done. And I also do what has been taught clearly. And two words always drive me: feasibility and plausibility. That thing that you are saying is plausible. Is it feasible? That's where I disagree with Professor Basiwe. Because you cannot be saying we cannot have. We make it look like it is the 6 geopolitical zones that caused our problem. Hello, was there 6 geopolitical zones when Senator Ella left the Senate in the Second Republic, when they created 4 states in the West and gave 2 states to the East that has, to the East Central State that has the same population. He asked them question at the Senate and he shouted him down. The man resigned and left the Senate. Ella, do we still have people like that? People who have integrity. That's what I told Nnamdi. I said, if 15 senators in the Southeast stages a walkout from the red chambers, it will make bigger impression than all the noise we make on the streets till the year 3000. Countries are built by men who will be prepared to think, not those who are ready to play to the gallery. We are not interested in that. How do we get these people who are ruling us, who think they are ruling us? How do we get them to behave like the parliament in Czechoslovakia in December 1992 that looked at the fact that their country was about to blow up? And they said, we are thinking about these people. There's a paper I wrote, the polling between Nigeria and Nigerians. Nigeria and Nigerians. I don't care if Nigeria survives. I am interested if Nigerians survive. I want Haruna to survive. I want Adegoke to survive. I want Emo. I want Abonipo. I want Okonkwo to survive. So we cannot sacrifice these people on the altar of one man called Nigeria that I don't know what he eats. I don't know the dress he wears. So as long as I agree that we need to save Nigeria, but we cannot save Nigeria on the altar of Nigerians' blood. When I said it in 2015, that Nigeria is turning into a gigantic human abattoir, the NBC called the radio station and said, I have spoken the unspeakable. Now, what is happening? How market in Nigeria? I don't want anybody to clap for me. I'm trying to get us to think. How? We already identified the problem. And the people who are doing all these things are very few, very small number of people. Senator Etaina said that 83% of the oil wells in the Niger Delta are in the hands of the Northwest. People in the Northwest. That's why when I wrote this book called Sinking Structures of Floating Foundation, social philosophical essays on the Nigeria's failure state, not failed, failure. A for amalgamation and the challenge of formation. B for Biafra and the Igbo question. C for constitution and the challenge of Grand North. And D for the Delta, the Niger Delta, and the economic state of the country. Nigeria's failure to address these 4 pillars with clear-mindedness, with sincerity, has led us to not just being a failed state, but a failure one. You can fail and not be a failure. You can still fail and get back on your feet. But I know this believing that, that's why I have this picture on top in front. Believing that as we are pushing this broken fragmentation, that we can piece this together. And I believe that that's what the rebel group has come to do. I believe that if we have to start with the 6 geopolitical zones to become regions with their own separate constitutions, that's why I don't discuss all these other ones, because they are like cutting the branches, shedding the leaves, and plucking the sometimes rotten, sometimes ripe fruits. When you stay at the root, you will decide how many states you want to have. That's why when people began to dance, local government is now, I say, oh God, what is wrong with us? We are sick, we are sick. We are sick. The basis of the cheating is what we are celebrating. Lagos is 20 local governments. Kano is 44. Kano and Jigawa is 71 local governments. The whole local government in Southeast is 95. And somebody is dancing. The basis of the cheating. What is the reason why Kano should be 44 and Lagos 20 with the same, almost the same population? What is the reason? Because somebody sat down somewhere and said it should be done so. I'm just being modest by saying they are the same population because I know Lagos is bigger. That's first argument. Second argument is we don't have to have access to everywhere in the Igbo before we can take care of our destiny. Last December I was in Hong Kong. Hong Kong doesn't have. When I got there, I told my friends, I said, if I have my way, when I come back here, there are people inside a room that has no door, no window, and pipe gas inside that room. I said, this is wickedness. How can people be doing this to us? Hong Kong had nothing. And yet, trade na underground. Why? Because they are using the resources we have to do those things. There are more Igbos in Lagos than we have in the South.
Yes.
So are we now going to make Igbo contiguous? Are we going to be contiguous? It doesn't matter. The Jews are Jews everywhere they are. Why do you think America supports Israel? Because the Jews are in charge of American economy. We can have Ndi Igbo in the South. If we want to use the port there, there's nothing that says they will stop us. It all depends on how. So, what can we and what is feasible? It's possible to have that, but is it feasible? Is it feasible? It's not. And we're making it look like others that went and discussed those 6 geopolitical units that they didn't think. Do you know the people that presented that thing? We're making it look like they had a collective amnesia. No. Voltaire, a major philosopher, said something, and I want to quote. He said, they that will make you believe absurdities will make you commit atrocities. That's why we think that once we have another country called Biafra, then when we get Biafra, we start having Osu, Wawa, Igbo, Imo, Anambra. And we need to solve the problem that is internal before we begin to think that our El Dorado lies in. Like I said, I am a core Biafran. I have defended Biafran things all over before Nnamdi came. And even till now, I still defend it. I have said it severally. Our brother has made mistakes and he needs to apologize to Ndi Igbo. I've said it on radio. I've said it in several places. That is where the healing begins. I have a colleague, professor in Ebonyi State University. Your brothers are taking over his house now for over 2 years. A mansion where I have slept. I don't want to call the name, but it's somewhere I will keep it. For 2 years now, he has not gone home. And then they never have run Fulani. It is people. Let's strip ourselves naked and bring out our testicles. Call your cough, man. It's our brothers who think that they can pick up a new country on the streets. Let's come home and begin to think about how to organize ourselves and then join with others. That's why when they were talking, Professor Chukokolo, when they were talking when we went to Port Harcourt for LPA conference, they were saying, John, they have they have done the undoable. I just listened to it for about 2 days and I dropped the voice note. I said, where were you, my fellow Yoruba friends? Where were you on 24 June 1993 when IPP annulled election? When he annulled that election, I wrote a placard that is as big as this place. I trekked from First Town to Unilag with that placard. I wrote on it, IPP, your Maradonic and despotic antics are dangerous to Nigeria's corporate existence. You are obviously a security risk. So do me a favor, commit suicide, unquote. And I carried it. And I carried it. when Showore saw it in Unilag, he said, Rasta, because that time I was a Rasta man. He said, Rasta, you're a madman. I said, thanks for the compliment. He said, if you carry this one outside, they will give you 1 bedroom flat at Bali. I told him, I walked with this placard from First Stack Town. In fact, I first of all trekked to Vanguard before I now walked through Osho, the Apapa Expressway to Unilag. He just looked at me and shook his head. I said, I told you people are not activists. You are just eating University of Lagos students' money. And now, after they have used him to destroy Jonathan, it's now. I know them. When I told the Nadeko people, allow MK Abiola to come from prison. This kind of statement is nonsensical. MK Abiola should not be released without his mandate. I said, what you are saying is that man should be sworn in as president in prison. I said, if this man dies in prison, you people will be held responsible. And I wrote an article playing Russian roulette with June 12. How long did it take before MK Abiola died? When men said they wanted to go and plant bomb at Eagle Square in 2010, I called their leaders. I said, hey, you don't need to plant bomb. You don't need to plant bomb. Go and carry placard. The diplomatic community will be there. Carry placard. No, they didn't hear. People need to think. Yoruba man said, Ronu, Ronu. Shall I got it right? Ronu, Ronu. People need to think. When in February, April 22, 1990, I heard an announcement. I, Major Gideon Oka of the Middle Belt and the South. I told them at Jaja Hall in Unilag, I said, which kind of foolish military officers are these? How can you make this kind of announcement in a federation? How can you make this? I told them that this too is a failure. They drove me out of Jaja Hall. I gingerly went to El Academy and stayed. I returned in the evening triumphantly when the coup has failed. I said, do you need to be a seer or a prophet to know that certain things are wrong, certain things cannot be said, certain things should not be done because of the multiplier effect? Why are we doing things thinking plenty of motion, no movement, like the Israelites of Sinai going out? We need to form and unite with others. Everybody is suffering under this castrating culture called Nigeria. Don't think the North is enjoying it. Don't think Fulani people are. It's politicians, and these politicians are everywhere. In any case, nothing can happen in Igbo land if there is no agent that will play agency role. It's not possible. So don't blame people outside. Blame those inside first. They have 70% of the blame when they tangle a few naira notes before you. That's why me and Professor Chukwu we decided it's better Kaiha. You can't buy me up. You can't buy me with $1 zillion. You can't buy me with $1 zillion. My mind is made up that I'm going to do the right things continually. Are we going to be doing that? There are people who are getting involved in this restructuring thing now, and at the end of the day, if you give them small money, it's okay, it's okay. Just 1 moment, 1 moment. I said 1 minute now, just end there. So this one is second and third. I'm combining the second one. I'm combining the second and the third. So please. What I'm saying is that we need, yes, finally. You know, somebody was talking about government, and while he was saying, I can't remember who it was now, and the person said, the reason why government is like this is what Thomas Jefferson said. I quote, said there are two enemies of the people. Criminals and the government. So let us tie the second with the chains of the constitution so that the second does not become a legalized version of the first. Unquote. not a joking event. It is a serious thing, and people need to go with the truth. There is a small correction I want to make here. Because we have Nigerians from all parts of the world. Number one, the Igbo nation is not seeking to annex anybody's territory. The Igbo nation is not seeking to annex anybody's territory. The Igbo are saying, let's have all our territories back. In Rivers, in Kogi, in Benue, in Delta, everywhere. Rivers down to Bonny and Obobo, opened by the Igbo. So don't allow yourself to be confused. Number two, see, this has to be said. Number two, military recruitment. We are not saying there is no advice to recruit the Igbo. I'm appealing to you. We are saying that there was a deliberate policy for 8 years to kill off the Igbo in the army. That there should be a compensatory recruitment. Not only to kill off the Igbo, to kill off the non-violent people. They arrange something, push them into the war, fight them out, fight them with the soldiers. That there should be a compensatory. We didn't say, I can't fight people because I'm running away from military. Number three, we are not talking about devolution of powers. This is a very likely notice. We are not talking about devolution of powers or using the exclusive back to residual authority. No. We are not talking about devolution of powers upon existing structures. We are getting to we are getting to a critical point. If you look at the last item, if you look at the last item, 3:30 to 4:30, we are supposed to be doing what they call Bologna. So what we will do is we will take a number, right? There are 3 items here. Sir, if you think there is something we need to add, candidate to autonomous region show federalism for Nigeria and resource control, building the states under a regional system, modality for drafting people's constitution. Now, we will take a decision on these 3 items. So you will take.
Thank you very much.
You have to watch your
Yes, please. It's your duty now. As you can see, we have to have 3 groups. Handle it, follow the autonomous